All right, so let's talk about how this stuff we just talked about with finding trig ratios of general angles, well, the ratios of x, y, and r, relates to the special right triangle stuff that we talked about before. So let's look at the two problems at the top of the third page of your guided notes. So we're going to calculate the cosine of 300 degrees by hand. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw the angle in standard position. So that's 90, 180, 270, 300 is going to be about right there. I'm going to draw that a little longer. Now, I need to get where the reference angle is. So the reference angle is the angle between the terminal side and the nearest x-axis. So that's right here. And that angle is 60 degrees. And then remember, the trig ratios are based off of right triangles containing that reference angle. So I'm going to drop that perpendicular from the terminal side to the x-axis so that the right triangle contains the reference angle. Now, this is now a right triangle that contains a 60-degree angle. So this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle, right? Now, what I'm going to do here is, if you remember the ratios in 30, 60, 90 right triangle are basically x, x root 3, and 2x. So what I'm going to do here, we don't know how far out this point is, but we know that the ratios of the sides of this right triangle are all the same as any 30, 60, 90 triangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this x value, which is just the side that's x here, and I'm going to make that 1. Now, if that's 1, the side opposite the 60-degree angle is that x times root 3. It's that 1 times root 3. So it would be root 3, but keep in mind this is a y value. And when we move over 1 down this root 3, that's actually going to be negative because you're moving downward. And then the hypotenuse of this thing would be 2 times this, which is 2. And if you just have the Pythagorean theorem, you'd see that all works out. So then the cosine of 300 degrees would be the adjacent side, which is 1, over the hypotenuse, which is 2. Now, if I were looking for something like the sine of 300, that would be opposite negative root 3 over hypotenuse, 2. And if I wanted the tangent, it'd be opposite over adjacent. So that would be opposite negative root 3 over adjacent, which is 1. So let's look at this second problem. Now, it's important to realize that I chose this side to be 1. I could have chosen this side to be 3 or 7 or whatever. As long as I set up my ratios of other sides based on that first side, my trig ratios would have come out as the same value. So let's do the second one. This is in radians, so remember, if you're ever in radians, feel free to convert to degrees before you do the problem. This is negative 150 degrees. So I'm going to draw this in standard position. Negative, remember, means we're going down. That's 90. There's 150. I need to draw in the reference angle. Right there. And that reference angle will be 30. And then draw in the right triangle. I'm going to drop in that perpendicular. And again, you see this is a 30-degree angle and a 90-degree angle, so this is a 30, 60, 90. I'm going to choose one of my sides to be 1. Doesn't really matter which one. I'm going to choose the 30 because that makes things easiest. But keep in mind, because the side opposite 30 is 1, it's moving, if I move over here and then down here, that 1 would be negative because I'm moving down. This side opposite 60 would be square root of 3 times that. And again, it would be negative because I'm moving backwards. And then my hypotenuse would be twice that, but remember, it's always positive, so it's 2. So my tangent of negative 5 pi over 6 would be opposite negative 1 over adjacent negative square root 3. So that would be 1 over root 3, which we don't tend to leave the radical in the bottom, so we'd multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 3. And that would be root 3 over 3. The sine of that angle, by the way, sine of negative 150, opposite over hypotenuse, so negative 1/2. The cosine, adjacent over hypotenuse, so negative root 3 over 2. All right, so pause the video and try the two problems at the bottom, and then I'll unpause it and I'll work through them. First, we draw our angles. Then I mark my reference angles and find them. Then I draw my right triangles containing the reference angles. Then I pick a side to label 1. In the 30, 60, 90, it's always opposite the 30. Then I get the rest of the sides of the right triangle. Then I mark the legs that are going either left or down as negative. And then I do my appropriate ratio. And then I get any roots out of the bottom if I need to do so. And those are your trig ratios.